Well, I think the first item I wanted to touch on in today's podcast was to do a little review of the United States paper money market. Most people are familiar with our Green Sheet, the currency dealer newsletter, and but I do think it's also kind of overlooked. We spend a lot of time covering coin auctions, coin prices, rightfully so. But now that we've completed pretty much the first 3 months of the year, just want to do a quick little review. So when the year started, we had the year always kicks off with the fun show and the fun auction, which is always very large, held by Heritage, and it was quite mixed actually. There were some really really strong areas, and there was also some areas of pretty distinct weakness, and so there was a fair amount of dealers that were unsure kind of where the year was going to go currency wise. But shortly after that, Stack's Bowers announced that they would be selling the Joel R. Anderson collection, which is a monumental collection put together over about 20 to 25 years by Mr. Anderson. And the first part was sold just last week at Baltimore by Stack's Bowers. And by all accounts, the results were just tremendous. In talking with Peter Treglia, who's the head of currency at Stack's Bowers, not just the Anderson collection, but the whole auction really in general was extremely strong. It was their strongest auction that they've ever done, according to him. They grossed over $10.5 million, which is pretty significant for a currency auction. Currency auctions rarely hit $3 million, so they hit 10.5 is really impressive. And so there's a lot of positivity, and just observing the market over the past couple months in the smaller, weekly online auctions and wholesale trading, there's definitely strength in large size type, and it doesn't have to be, the Anderson collection is getting a lot of attention because there was a lot of 6-figure notes, but there's a lot of really good notes that are in demand that are less than $5,000. You see a lot of notes in the $2,500 to $5,000 range that are right when they go into the market, they get scooped up, and they're not gems either. Notes that are fine, right, very fine, extra fine, but as long as they're solid for the grade, no tears, good paper, good color, no fading, no retouching, anything like that. So it's a good thing. I think the U.S. currency market is really healthy.
I always loved the 1933-10. That was a favorite of mine. Always an underrated note. Not even knowing a lot about paper money. That was the kind of note you're talking about. Whenever we had one in inventory in my old company, it would fly off just fly right off the website.
It's cool though. Those two notes that gained, I think, $960 a piece, almost $1 million a piece. There, the $1,863 $1,000 legal tender, and the $1,880,000. Those were tied at $960,000 a piece. Was it, Patrick? I think.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the two cell toppers.
Amazing.
In Anderson Part 1 were $960,000 each.
Do we know if they sold to the same person?
No indications on the buyers yet.
Okay, interesting.
You could have expected maybe one of those to crack $1 million, but I think if you look at the overall sales, so many of the other notes that were expected to sell, for 200 to 300, selling in 500 to 600, it kind of balances that out. And one thing that was really interesting that I touched on in the Green Sheet article, but didn't really have the space to do it, is the performance of the kind of esoteric notes, interest-bearing notes and the compound interest treasury notes. And the reason it's interesting is because no one can really make a set of those because they don't exist. And oftentimes when you can't complete a set of something, it deters collectors from, trying it or from buying it.
Right.
But these notes all did exceptionally well, just because of the fact that I think they're so unique, both in their design and in their function as financial instruments. And when they were issued, right in the middle of the Civil War, all that combines with people bidding them up. And I honestly think that some of the buyers are not even currency collectors. They might be just people who are genuinely interested in U.S. history that recognize, rare pieces.